Hey guys, hope you're doing well. It's me, Bo, back on the channel with yet another cult movie review. In today's video, I'm going to be taking a look at the erotic 2001 drama, The Piano Teacher. I first came across this movie when I delved into Isabelle Huppert's filmography, and as I've said before, she really is a fearless actress that's taken on some very challenging roles. Anyways, The Piano Teacher stuck out to me. It seemed like a pretty interesting story, so I thought, yeah, why not? Let's check it out. Just before we get into the review, guys, if you haven't already, please do consider subscribing to the channel. All the support is greatly appreciated. So, The Piano Teacher from 2001 was directed by the filmmaker Michael Haneke and was based on the 1983 novel by Elfriede Jelinek. Originally, Haneke wasn't meant to direct the film, but due to some budgetary constraints, he basically took over production. In terms of the plot, the movie followed a piano teacher called Erica who lived in an apartment with her mother in Vienna. Erica, who was played by actress Isabelle Huppert, lived a very mundane existence, a very rigid lifestyle, dedicating all her time to either teaching or playing the piano. While on the outside, yeah, she seemed, pretty normal. Internally, she definitely was emotionally stunted. She also had this very volatile relationship with her mother, who was played by actress Annie Girardot. This was pretty evident from the very start of the movie, when Erica returned home one evening to be immediately questioned on her whereabouts. It was quite strange, since Erica, wasn't this adolescent teenager. No, she was a fully grown woman, yet her mother was, treating her like a child. Anyways, the two argued back and forth, which eventually led to Erica violently grabbing her mother's hair and pulling it out. Given this was a mother and daughter relationship, I have to say it was, pretty disturbing to witness someone, do that to their own family member. Yes, we all have arguments with our parents. I mean, if we didn't, we, wouldn't be normal. So it happens and, you get over it. But at no time should you, put your hands on your family. Yes, the two eventually made up, but still, attacking your elderly mother, that was just crossing the line. And it definitely showed how unstable Erica was. We were soon introduced to the character Walter Klemmer, a gifted pianist who immediately took a liking to Erica. The two met at a private dinner where Erica was performing for the guests, and Walter didn't hold back in showing his admiration for Erica's talent. Walter, who was played by actor Benoit Magimel, would later audition for a masterclass that Erica was producing. He was infatuated with her, and he felt that it was the perfect opportunity for him to basically spend some time with her. Even though Walter had the talent, Erica had her reservations about him joining her masterclass. He was infatuated with her, and she secretly was attracted to him. That of course made sense, because you had Erica, who was middle-aged, no children, not in a relationship, and then came along Walter, this confident young guy who was giving her all this attention. So Walter was eventually accepted into Erica's masterclass, and pretty quickly the two began an affair. But this affair would ultimately end in some tragic circumstances. I mean, taking a look at the moment they first, were intimate with each other in the bathroom, you had Walter telling Erica that he loved her. She, on the other hand, acted way more cold and calculated and treated Walter like some lapdog. Walter was obviously confused, since he thought that the feeling was mutual, but instead he got treated like a kid, similar to how Erica was treated by her mother. It couldn't just be a normal boy-girl relationship. No, instead you had Erica asserting control over Walter and imposing her, perverted desires onto him. If they were going to get together, then she was going to be in charge. And, with her, taking control, she actually subverted the conventional masculine role by inserting herself into that position. But, I must make the point that Erica's dark fantasies, they were not her sexual preference. In fact, they were a reflection of her internal shame. Erica liked the controlling aspect of the relationship that she had with Walter. She could now dictate what happened rather than being told what to do. She liked having Walter on a string, like a puppet, but playing with people's emotions is never a good idea. And over time, Walter became despondent to all of Erica's manipulation. This would build up over time, and eventually, one evening, he completely snapped. He went berserk and assaulted Erica in her apartment. Walter was tired of being messed around and not being taken seriously by Erica. He couldn't handle his emotions, and in that moment started to attack Erica and giving her a bloody nose. But it didn't stop there. After he had assaulted her physically, he then decided to sexually assault Erica. It was a very ugly scene. And, once Walter had finished, it was like he was done with everything. He was done with the relationship, and he had basically wiped his hands of Erica for good. It was very depressing to see Erica manhandled, like she was, and to also have her mother screaming behind a locked door. Just, very, very disturbing. I will have to say, though, what really stuck out to me was that there was no score being played in the background. It was just this eerie silence, and that definitely added some realism to the whole scene. The final part of the movie saw Erica and her mother attend the opening night of this performance that she had produced. But while all the crowds were filtering inside the theatre, Erica decided to wait outside so she could have a moment with Walter. She waited and waited, and eventually Walter showed up. But when he did, he said hello and pretended like nothing had ever happened. He basically ignored her and left her in disbelief. And at that moment, she finally realized that she had been used and disregarded. She was already a mentally unstable individual, but with Walter's rejection, it tipped her over the edge. We then saw Erica remove a knife from her handbag and stab herself in her chest close to her heart. While of course this was very shocking, I must stress, this was a cry for help. I mean, let's face it, she was a psychologically broken woman who could only cope with her emotions through hurting herself. And you see, the self-inflicted stab wound wasn't the first time that we saw Erica hurt herself. You see, there was a scene earlier in the film where Erica was in the bathroom and she decided to pick up a razor blade. Now, at first, I thought she was, just gonna remove some pubic hair. But unfortunately, things, got a lot worse. She purposely cut herself in her, vaginal area, and we saw the blood leaking. It was just pouring out, but then Erica, with no kind of reaction to the pain, just started to clean everything up and carried on as normal. This was, of course, another disturbing aspect of the film, but I have to say, this was a very honest depiction of what self-harmers do. I don't want to get into too much personal stuff here, as this is, supposed to be just a movie review, but as someone who's shared a similar journey to Erica, it totally makes sense that she would do what she did and then, carry on as normal. When you're in that crazed mindset, you absolutely hate yourself. You really do. You have all these built up, frustrations and aggressions and even shame, bubbling up inside. And the only way to kind of get a release or to, take control of that is, by hurting yourself. And that's what Erica did. And once she had done that, all the shame, all the rage, all the anger, all the guilt, it all just slipped away. Of course, until the next time. And besides the self-inflicted pain, Erica also had a very depraved sexual mindset that stemmed from her very rigid upbringing. During the film, we learned that Erica's father had been sent to an insane asylum many years earlier, and Erica was left with her very controlling mother. Erica, of course, was a brilliant pianist, but I have to ask the question, at what cost? Because here was someone that dedicated their whole life, made all these sacrifices to, that specific profession, but there was no relationships, there was no children. She was jaded and sexually repressed. And there were a few scenes that exposed Erica's perverted nature. For example, when she went to the sex shop to view some pornography, she sat in a darkened room, gleefully watching this pornography that was playing on the TV. But what was really distressing was when she picked up a tissue, a used tissue, from the trash and smelled it. That's pretty sick, man, So, I'm just grateful that when I was watching this movie, I wasn't eating my dinner, because I probably would have gagged. In another scene, we saw Erica go out one evening and spied on a young couple having sex in a car. At first, she watched from a distance, but eventually got closer and closer until the point that she was spotted and had to run away. As I've mentioned, this woman was mentally unstable, but as the film progressed, her antics, her behavior, it just became even more crazier. And I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the most bizarre moment in the entire film when Erica attempted to have sexual intercourse with her mother. The two shared a bed together inside their apartment, and one evening, Erica decided to randomly jump on her mother and accost her. The mother was screaming, trying to pull her daughter off. I mean, this was a real struggle, and a very dark scene to witness. I mean, at this point in the movie, it was quite clear that Erica was disturbed, but even I didn't see that coming, that level of depravity. When it comes to the performances, I want to give massive credit to Isabelle Huppert, who stole the show with her performance as Erica. She really is a very talented actress who I don't think gets the credit that she really does deserve. Huppert's portrayal of Erica was very impressive, and I've seen a lot of her films, but I'm gonna say that this is probably the strongest performance I've ever seen her give. Actress Annie Girardot, who played the mother, was also very good in her role, playing alongside Isabelle Huppert. Yes, the mother was controlling. Yes, the mother should have allowed her daughter to live her own life. But I still think that, an elderly woman like she was, she didn't deserve the drama that her daughter inflicted on her. At the start of the movie, I've got a really bad vibe from the mum. I mean, I really didn't like her at all. She seemed overly, protective, and it just didn't really make sense. And as I said, very, controlling. But as time went on, my opinion changed, and I felt very sympathetic towards the character. None of the characters in this movie were one-dimensional. Everyone had layers, including the mother. And I think, seeing a different side to her over time, it was some real nice character development. So overall, just a great job from Girardot. When it comes to the technical side of things, it can't be denied that The Piano Teacher is a very elegant looking and well-made production. One of the things I picked up on was how the cinematographer, Christian Berger, used a muted color palette, lots of whites, blues and greys, and that was, of course, to reflect the sterile world that Erica lived in. I also really liked the overhead shots, the bird's eye view of the piano keys as people played. This movie had a lot of musical production going on, and it was important for the filmmakers to, try different techniques to engage the audience. And that was a shot that I really, really liked. And so, dislikes for The Piano Teacher from 2001. My biggest dislike for the film would have to be its long, drawn-out, slow pace. Now, this movie ran for over 2 hours, and all things considered, it really didn't need to be. Throughout the movie, there were several sequences where the camera just seemed to linger, and it felt very, very unnecessary. Especially when I think about the performances, the musical performances within the movie, a lot of that stuff really just dragged on. And another moment that seemed to just linger on forever was the scene when Erica gave oral sex to Walter. It must have lasted for well over a minute of him just standing there and Erica's head just, bobbing up and down. You only needed 10 seconds of that, and then that's it, cut away. It's like, okay, oral sex, we get it. Honestly, a more condensed, trimmed down version of The Piano Teacher would have improved my overall viewing experience. I'm okay with scenes being drawn out if it's warranted, but here it didn't feel that way. It felt like the filmmakers were almost trying to be artistic when actually it just felt very forced. And so, ratings for The Piano Teacher from 2001. I'm going to be rating this movie a solid 5.5 out of 10. The Piano Teacher was a film that explored some very harsh subject matters in a very uncompromising way. It's a movie that delved into the complexities of human psychology, sexual repression, and power dynamics. The visual style and slow pace definitely invoked a very unsettling atmosphere for the audience that had to confront the ugly side of human nature. Ultimately, this was a very artsy type drama that won't be to everyone's tastes. But with that said, I also think that you still have to commend the filmmakers for bringing such a provocative story to the big screen. If you've seen The Piano Teacher, then please let me know your thoughts and memories in the comment section below. As for people that haven't, I would recommend this, but be aware of the harsh subject matter. If you're in the mood for some hard-hitting drama, then yeah, definitely give it a go. But if you're after some escapism, some light-hearted entertainment, then I'd advise you to give this one a miss. And well, that's all from me today, guys. I do hope you've enjoyed this review of The Piano Teacher from 2001. I'll be back next week with yet another cult movie review. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, take care. Bye-bye.